I will be there. I'll be there Thursday, yes.
Okay, a little early. Okay. But the conference is actually Friday, so people can come out to the event is going to be at the Goodwill Industries.
Yes. And Philip, you've been involved with what we call the Campaign for Black Male Achievement for a minute. For folks who don't or are not aware of the Campaign for Black Male Achievement, give us a little input, if you will, what that's all about.
The Campaign for Black Male Achievement was founded maybe about 6-7 years ago in New York City with the Open Society Foundation and Sean Dove. He's the campaign manager, and it is exactly what it says. It is an opportunity for black males to highlight positive achievement as mentors, as fathers, as scholars, as community workers. Black men achieving positive things. And so I'm very proud of Mr. Dove, and I'm proud also of Mr. Hamilton, who has been, since he became connected with the Campaign for Black Male Achievement, he's been holding it up out west, in Omaha, even as far as California, Nevada, Denver. They talk about what Mr. Hamilton is doing on black male achievement. So I'm excited to be coming to Omaha this Thursday. I'm going to be there for a couple of days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But I'm excited. I believe that Omaha, in the center of the United States, can become the epicenter for black male achievement throughout the country. And so this is a great first step. There are a lot of very important people in Omaha. There are a lot of very important people coming to Omaha, and now it's time to mix it up and get this deal done.
Philip, why is it so important to connect the dots, if you will, and take this to a national campaign?
We only need to look to last Saturday when it was announced in Florida, in Jacksonville, Florida. They said, this man, Michael Dunn, who shot and killed this young black boy, Jordan Davis, he's not guilty of murder.
Exactly.
And they said, well, he's guilty of a lot of things, but he's not guilty of murder. And a lot of people say, well, you know the boy is dead. You know the boy was killed. Well, yeah, they said, yeah, we understand all that. But this man is not guilty of murder, is what they said. And so this goes back to the Dred Scott decision in 1857, when a slave named Dred Scott was trying to run away. And the Supreme Court of the United States said, well, wait a minute. A black man really doesn't have any right that a white man has to honor. And now we have the spirit of Dred Scott alive and well in 2014 in the United States of America. It's like they're telling us that a young black boy, whether it's Trayvon Martin, whether it's Jordan Davis, a young black boy doesn't have the right to life. That if an angry white man takes his life, he's not going to be found guilty. And so you ask, why now? Why black male achievement now? This is the proper counterbalance to all these things. Black male achievement is the counterbalance to the fact that only 10% of black boys in the United States of America read at a proficient level. It's a counterbalance to the fact that here in Chicago, 90% of police-involved shootings are shootings of young black men.
Right.
It's the counterbalance to the fact that our school system is about 25% young black men, but suspensions here in Chicago are 74% young black men. In Omaha, in St. Louis, in Minneapolis, in Tampa are pretty much the same thing throughout this country. And so it's got to happen. For the next generation, it's got to happen. We have failed. I'm talking about my people. I'm talking about black people. Mm-hmm. We have failed 2 or 3 generations. We failed them. That they have literally no hope and almost no possibility of a future because we have not done the work. Well, black male achievement is the work. When black men achieve, when black men do well, their wives will do well. Their families will do well. Their children will do well. Their communities will do well. That's why black male achievement is so important. There are those who say that as goes the black man in America, so goes black America. Mm-hmm. And if we can't make the black man go well, then black America is not going to go well.
So from that perspective, what is working? What currently is working?
There are some things that are working, but we need it. But I'm not a kumbaya cheerleader. What is working is that there are pockets of black male excellence, like Black Men United in Omaha, like Kenny Braswell up in Albany, like Terry Boykins in California, and all throughout. If you go into any big city, you will find one group, sometimes two groups. In Washington, D.C., it's our friend Franklin Malone. You will find a group that is actually doing the work. But just as the Bible says, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. So yes, there are a lot of things that are working. There is some mentoring going on. There are a lot of good fatherhood programs that are out there. We just had our daddy-daughter dance where 50 fathers. So instead of watching the Super Bowl or a basketball game, fathers, 50 of them, brought their daughters to a dance. I mean, I'm talking about a father, 6'3", 240 pounds. They brought their 4-year-old daughters to a dance, and they danced with them. That's working. I'm talking about mentorship programs where, like here in Chicago tonight, we've got about 12 black men who have given up their Tuesday nights for the past 5 years to mentor 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old black boys, to teach them, how to strive for excellence, how to value education, how to respect women. So that stuff is working. And we talked about the Million Father March earlier. Last year, in 630 cities, you name the state, you name the city, Albuquerque, Seattle, Maine, Florida, Georgia, Atlanta, all over this country, fathers took their children to school on the first day of school. And I do want to say that the Million Father March did not gain that kind of traction until Brother Willie Hamilton in Omaha stepped up.
All right.
And they started coordinating. They started coordinating that western portion of the march. Now, throughout the West, Texas is coming on like gangbusters. Throughout the West, New Mexico, Wyoming, everybody wants to do the Million Father March. So we give a lot of credit to Brother Hamilton. But when you ask me what's going right, there are a lot of things going right. But I'm much more interested in what's not going right, because I want to fix that. And here's what's not going right. Black people not working in the United States of America. When we were slaves, everybody had a job. Now they don't. We can't get a job. And a lot of it is our fault. And it comes from the education system or the education destruction system that so many of our children attend. All you do every day is send your children to school. If that's all you do, then you are sending your children to their destruction. The first thing you have to do before you send your children to an American school, you have got to give your child consciousness. You've got to protect them by giving them a consciousness as to why they're going to school. They're not going to school to play. They're not going to school simply to learn this man's knowledge. That's not why we send you to school. We send you to school so that you can get as much knowledge as you can to bring back to your community, to bring back to your family, to help build institutions and build structures for us to. Now, if you're not teaching your child that before they go to school, then you're the problem.
So what you're saying is it essentially starts at home.
Oh no, yeah. I'm saying that essentially. As you can tell, I don't like to answer questions yes or no, but you tricked me. Yes, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying more than that. So let me tell you what we have done, and I'm really hoping that Omaha is going to catch on to this. We created our own school system, and a lot of people get scared. They go, man, you got your own school system? Yeah, we got our own school system. They say, well, who gave you permission? And I say, permission? Do I look like the kind of black man who asks for permission to educate black children? Why does a black man gotta ask for permission to educate black children? So let me give you an example, a very good example. Here in the city of Chicago, only 9%, that's 9, single digit, 9% of black boys read at grade level. 9%.
You said 9%?
9. You gotta understand. Y'all don't hear me now. 9%. And so I went and told the school, I said, look, I can do better than that if every black boy drops out of school, and then I'll educate them after the dice game in the alley, down at the pool hall, in front of the liquor store. I can do better than 9%. I said, so what are you guys doing? And I told them, I said, are you going to give me back 91% of the money that you took for educating these children? Because you only educating not for the, so you can tell I'm not the most popular guy. But that's what time it is. It's not time to be popular. It is educate or die. My people, black people, we're on our last leg. They're not playing with us.
No.
It's educate or die. And I'm saying we're going to educate, and we're going to live, and we're going to survive, and we're going to thrive, and we're going to take over. That's what time it is. And that's what the Black Male Achievement Movement means to me. I'm coming to Omaha pumped.
Like I said, you're not the only one pumped. When we came back from the campaign for Black Male Achievement Transformation Leadership Retreat, it was a phenomenal thing to see so many brothers on the same page. And the message was, go back to your city. You go back to your city as a black man and you impact that city. It's not about having friends in high places and all these things. You want to go down and hang out with the mayor and want to hang out with. I'm not on that tip. My tip is this: we as black men, we are part of the problem, but we're also the solution. And the only way we can change the paradox that's happening in our city, we have to start doing for self. That means we have to start looking at things like having our own schools and educating our own boys. What's wrong with having the Eagle Academy? What's wrong with having a Bannister Academy or 100 black men, have a school specific for our black boys? We have to start thinking about that mindset. And now we have the opportunity where they're actually talking about charter schools in the state of Nebraska. That's how serious it is. They're saying, maybe this thing ain't working, so maybe that's an option we can put on the table. But guess what? If we do charter schools, they gotta be in North Omaha. They can't be nowhere else. And I'm saying fine, because at the end of the day, too many of our boys are dropping out. Too many of our folks are getting uneducated by the educational system that we're trying to be a part of. And we have to start thinking out of box thinking that we can do a better job by educating our own.
So when you talk about the school system that you guys created, did you guys go about it through the charter school way or the private institution way?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Thank you for asking the question. And as I said, I hate yes and no answers, so let me elaborate.
Please do.
We called 100 black people in the room. We called 100 black people. We called preachers and teachers. We called parents. We called gang members. We called professionals. We called black. We said, come on in the room. We called not-for-profit people. We called business people. We said, come in the room, because we're going to create our own education system. Now, a lot of black people started laughing. But that's not a problem. So then we started putting together our own structure. We said, now this is what our structure is going to be like. This is what our day is going to be like. Then we put together our curriculum. We said, now this is our curriculum. And we have curriculum experts. There are some smart black people out here. So we created our own curriculum. And then we created our own assessment and methodology. That's what, some people call it testing. Well, we don't do testing because that's all they want to do is test us. And then they fail us, and then they tell us, you failed.
Right.
But we don't do that.
And just
so
to add to that,
do,
when you say something is a test, research does suggest that you're going to get a different result. Yeah, you're going to get a different response when it's called a test as opposed to an assessment.
We do a pre-assessment. We assess where the deficits are. That means we find out what the kids don't know, and then we teach them what they don't know. Can you imagine that? Mm-hmm. Find out what somebody don't know and teach them what they don't know.
Is that called best practices?
well, let me tell you what it's called. If you read the New York Times, I believe it's January 19th, they analyze us, and it's very suspicious to me. I'm just saying it's suspicious to me because they analyze this practice that I'm talking about immediately, and the dates are the same. When we started, they said, okay, let's analyze it. They analyzed it. University of Chicago, Harvard, all the big white institutions. They said, let's study this. And then in the New York Times, they announced, wow, this really works in the New York Times. And now everybody is really loading onto it because rich white universities have said it works. And I'm going, wow. I mean, don't black people have any kind of credibility? I mean, can't black people create anything? or we have to wait until the University of Chicago says it works before we start learning? Well, I'm through with that, brother. I'm through with that. And so, I mean, you can read it. You can look at our curriculum. You can look at our model. Read the New York Times, and you'll go, wow, this looks just like what Black Star did. And now, the whole country's saying, you know what? This is a good idea. Well, I'm not waiting for somebody to co-sign on our idea. We have black people. We're brilliant. Oh, yeah. And if anybody is telling me that black people cannot educate black children, they're wrong. They're absolutely wrong. But the people who believe it less are black people. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Black people come up to me and tell me, well, you can't educate them kids. I'm going, well, brother, no, they don't want to learn that. Brother, don't stop me before I try. Let me try at least. So that's where I am. I appreciate you asking me these questions.
And I think it's also very important to note that once you see people of color in front of you, it's more likely that you'll think you can achieve it. I look back to my childhood, and one of the news ladies, she was of color, and that's why, honestly, you really couldn't tell me I wasn't going to do this as a profession, because that was who I saw, and I knew that it was possible because she looked like me and she was on the news, and I thought that was a realistic goal. And then after going to school and joining other organizations with other journalists and people in the media of color, and you see people not just telling the weather, but it's so many different areas and angles, not just behind the cameras, but it's so much that you can do in this business. So that really became a reality for me. And then when I came to Omaha and started working at a nonprofit, I would tell the kids that they could do the same thing if that's what they wanted to do, but they didn't see those examples, so they looked at me a little strange because they didn't have those examples in the right now in front of them. So I think it's very important that people are represented well in those industries, so I know for sure that we can teach our children, and I know that has a different impact on students from personal experience.
Well, Sister Angela, and this is why they don't want to put a guy like me in front of young black men. And I'm clear on this. I'm clear. Because I'm not trying to teach them, the latest rap game. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to teach them to get out here and chase the almighty dollar. I'm not on that. And they say, well, that's the American way. No, that's not my way. I'm teaching young black men to be warriors. To be warriors for their people. to be warriors for their community, to do whatever it takes. Now, when I say whatever it takes, that might mean teaching a black boy how to read. If that's what it takes, that's what it takes. It might mean going up against the police department. Well, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. But that's why they don't want me teaching young black boys. And I understand that I'm not mad at them. They're not supposed to want people like me being in control of the minds of our children. They want to control the minds of our children and the minds of our people so that they can keep us in this, I don't know what to call it, this form of slavery. Sister Angela, I don't know what you call it. It looks a lot like slavery to me.
You know, Philip, and that's why when I connected with your organization, I knew that Black Men United had to be a part of it. Because not only I feel your passion, I utilize a lot of your programs. And I know for a fact that they work. Real Men Read, it works. A simple program. But when you go in and you see a black person reading to you, it does a lot of things. First of all, it throws out the window that black men don't read. And it fosters the love of reading. So I know for a fact, just the mere instance of going into a classroom and having kids see black men coming together for positive things has a powerful impact on our kids. So I know people may say black men are part of the problem. I'll say yeah to that. But I also say we are the key to the solution as well.
I'm with you, Brother Hamilton. Man, I'm with you.
Well,
I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there with you.
See, like I say, we got a movement going. And that's what you tell me every day. Will, if we don't have a movement, it can't be about Chicago. It just can't be about Omaha. It has to be a movement. We have to align ourselves together. Because this is a war. This is a war for the hearts and minds of our black babies. Period.
And it's an international movement.
Exactly.
And so we need, and in ways, the Black Male Achievement Movement is aligning the brothers in Brazil, the brothers in Jamaica, the brothers in Haiti, the brothers in France, the brothers in Germany and Britain, and the brothers on the continent in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Tanzania. That's what this is about. And that's why, when you think about all the power that these black men across the world would bring to a new global dynamic, that's why some people don't want us to play.
Yes. Well, I think...
And Sister Angela, I'm going to say this. Let me help a sister out. Who's Sister Angela going to marry?
Well,
See what I'm saying? and not just Sister Angela, all them young sisters out
you're
there.
right.
They going to school, they getting them degrees, and they getting them jobs, and they driving them Toyotas. Come on, man. Baby girl.
How you know she driving the Toyota?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Y'all feel me? Y'all know what I'm talking about.
I got a 15.
So I'm looking out for the sister as well.
I got a 15-year-old daughter, and my whole thing is right now, how do I find a good man for her to treat her in the manner that she's supposed to be treated? There's so many good women out there that are looking for a good man. I'm telling you, we the key to this mix. If we get right, our family get right. The greatest revolution that could ever happen, Philip, is every black man go home and take care of his.
That's right.
It's just that simple. It's just that simple.
Like that.
It's just that simple. And if you can't find a man, then you do yours and you help somebody out as well. That's the mindset that we got to get. And before you go, I want to talk about the president right now, because the president has put the picture, the light on our black boys and girls with our brothers keepers. Talk a little bit about that, if you will.
Well, and that's an initiative that's coming out of Washington, D.C. The president made mention to it in the State of the Union address in January. And what it is, he acknowledges that boys of color, and that's his remark, black and Latino boys, that they have challenges, that they have issues. So what the president said is that he is going to create initiatives, to create programs, to use his executive order, the power of his pen and his personality, to drive a program, My Brother's Keepers, for for boys and men of color in the United States. But before I go, I got to give it up for this one young man. He was 16 here in the city of Chicago, and him and his two boys were getting ready to stick up a guy at a gas station. You might have seen this. This was about a week ago. And he walks up on this guy, pulls out his pistol, and you know, and this is all on camera. You can pull it up on camera. And then the guy, you know, he says, whatever, give me your wallet, whatever. And then his boys start, you know, shaking down the car and everything. And then, for whatever the reason, and this is my people. I'm talking about my people now. Mm-hmm. We have forgotten how to be good robbers. Now, I don't think we should be robbing, but if you're going to rob, just be a good robber. And you see, a good robber will rob you and leave you alone. But what's happening here in Chicago and probably in Omaha, these young guys are robbing, and then they shoot you and kill you. And so the guy gives him his wallet, so he's got the wallet, and the guy says, nope, it can't end here. And the guy goes back to his pocket. He's a sheriff's deputy, pulls out his gun, boom, shoots the guy in the head. On television. On television. Now, here's what I'm trying to say. First of all, he should not have been out there robbing nobody. He could have been robbing me or you or little sister Angela. I'm clear on that. So I will not hold that brother up for trying to rob anybody. But my people, men like me, let that young brother down. If men like me had been in that young brother's life, he wouldn't have been on that gas station corner trying to stick up that guy, or he would have been less likely on that gas station corner.
Speak on it.
And then this is what happened here in the city of Chicago. This is the city of Chicago. They played it on all the news channels. It's viral. You can pull it up. You can pull it up anywhere in the world. And they played it over and over and over and over again, showing the deputy lifting up his gun and killing this young man on live television. And now people are starting to get ideas. Do you know that black people were cheering the death of that young black boy? He shouldn't have been out there. He got what's deserved. That's what he deserved. And all I'm saying is, nobody deserves that. Right. Yeah, he wasn't doing the right thing. And I'm so glad that the sheriff's deputy wasn't hurt. I don't want him to be hurt. I didn't want him to be robbed. But I am not the kind of black man who cheers when a young black boy is gunned down on nationwide television. I'm not that kind of a black man. I'm not that kind of a black man.
And we appreciate that as well. And because that's really what we need. It truly does take a village to rear children. And when we speak on the loss of children's lives, we know the purpose of the enemy in this, to steal, destroy, and to kill. So we know what the purpose is. And if you're a part of that plan, that's unfortunate whenever it's all said and done. But I think it's also, that's the fine line, because people always say, well, they shouldn't have been. People are very quick to point out the wrongs in many of these situations as it relates to it. But then we have your Trayvon Martins and your Jordan Davises that they shouldn't have been perceived to be doing this, So that's just where the fine line comes in on my personal level on it, because I think the perception of the black man is black boy, black child, black youth, specifically black boy, is that their life is not valuable, and they're
that's right.
That's the really unfortunate, and that's the sad part about it. So it warms my heart to know that people like you and Willie Hamilton are stepping up